Okay, we are back with a recap of the Buckeyes getting the job done against Penn State, 44-31. And I just want to talk about JT Tuimoloau. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. For the rest of the video, I'm just going to call him JTT to keep it short and simple. He was a ball of fire. That was an absolute tremendous performance from him. Player of the game in my book for sure. That usually goes to some offensive juggernaut that usually goes off for a big game. But JTT was amazing today. Yesterday he had two interceptions, including a pick six, and he actually tipped a pass in the first drive that resulted in an INT. And he also had a strip sack, so he was involved in four turnovers that really were crucial, especially in the beginning of the game as the Ohio State offense was kind of sputtering to start the game. And I feel like the defense in general, despite the final score of Penn State having 31 points, I thought the defense did its job for the most part. Although they weren't perfect, there were some instances where you'd like to see like Tommy Eichenberg missing that tackle on 4th and goal. You want to see him get that tackle for loss, especially when it leads to Penn State grabbing a lead in the fourth quarter. And the touchdown reception for the first touchdown where the receiver broke two tackles from two Ohio State defenders, that kind of gave Penn State some hope at the beginning of the game that would last throughout the entire game, really. And that play in general kind of looked like a lot more of what we saw from the Buckeye defense last year, along with the missed tackle from Eichenberg. Again, that's just one play. Tommy Eichenberg's still a fantastic player. He's still been great this year. Just something you don't want to see him do in that moment. And he looked dejected. I don't want to harp on him too much because he felt like he was punishing himself more than anybody else could. So in general, yeah, the defense, I feel like it played very well. JTT had a Hall of Fame worthy performance. I don't know if they couldn't put players in like the circle of honor or whatever they have at Ohio State just for one game, but JTT definitely had a seasons full of helmet stickers just in that one game alone. It was insane, and that's something that Ohio State needed as Penn State was really getting momentum, and Ohio State's offense again sputtering early. But the offense, I do want to give them some credit in the fourth quarter. They shut it down. They were clicking like a well-oiled machine by then. You really saw that Travion Henderson was able to finally break out after the earlier in the game. Not getting much, but that's what happens when you stick to the run game and you get those. You wear the defense down over three quarters. Suddenly, those runs that are 2-3 yards or maybe even tackle for losses, they turn into those long, like 30+ yard touchdown runs, or ones that where he kind of like just had a easy run to the end zone for a touchdown. They turn into those in the fourth quarter. So credit to Ryan Day for sticking to his game plan, except for the screen passes. Maybe if those don't work after 2 or 3 of them, maybe stop running them. That's just my 2 cents. I'm not on the coaching staff or anything, but if the bubble screen isn't working, the bubble screen is not working. You're just gonna have to can those, in my opinion. But Marvin Harrison Jr. was good. Marvin Harrison Jr. was good all game, not just in the fourth quarter. He was carving the Penn State defense from the get-go, which was why it was a little frustrating when you kept seeing bubble screens and stretch runs when Marvin Harrison Jr. was just working all game. That goes into some of the stuff that gave this game a bit of a sour taste to it, why Ohio State did come out with so sloppy on offense. But I do want to give credit where credit is due to Penn State's defense. It's clear that they came out ready to go. They kept that crowd in it again early in the game when Penn State's offense was also pretty awful. Again, I think they came out with 2 straight interceptions caused by JTT. So it's not like Penn State's offense was a house of fire to come out, but Penn State's defense did keep them in the game. They kept the crowd involved and kept the Ohio State scoreboard to very little points in the beginning of the game. And something about the offense that persisted throughout the entire game, even in the fourth quarter when they were rolling, was the delay of game issues and just line of scrimmage stuff, like the two. I was going to say the 2 false starts and the 2-point conversions, but honestly, I don't think either of them were false starts. It seemed like both of them were, the Penn State player jumping in the neutral zone, the offensive lineman reacting, and then those offensive players getting punished for reacting to somebody jumping in the neutral zone. I guess just don't move even if the defender is like coming toward you before the ball snapped. I guess just don't do that. But again, back to the delay of game issues, they were a little troubling because you think Ohio State would be prepared for Penn State's crowd to be raucous, and I guess this is the first truly rambunctious crowd they've faced all season. This was their second road game, and this was the first crowd that was really heavily involved in that game. So maybe that caused some issues, but you feel like they would probably maybe do some practicing with the silent count, or like practice where all of their assistant coaches or whatever like screaming at them with megaphones. Just have like an open practice to the public and allow students to just yell at them through megaphones or something like that. Maybe that wouldn't have even helped in the end, but you feel like it was weird how they kept having delay of game issues, but hopefully that's just a 1 week thing and they'll be better prepared for rambunctious crowds later on, because they're gonna run into another one eventually. I know they have the Michigan game at home, and the rest of their games between now and Michigan aren't really tough. They're more of the weaker Big Ten opponents, but they're gonna face a crowd that's gonna give them some issues later on down the line. But overall, again, the job is to get the job done, and that's exactly what Ohio State did. Thanks to, again, an all-world performance from JTT and his defensive effort. Really, his pick six essentially sealed the game. And his strip sack too. The fourth quarter was his. The whole game was his. His strip sack in the fourth quarter, leading to the Cade Stover touchdown, and then his pick six to steal it. It was an almost incomprehensible game from JTT. So thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, leave a like and a subscribe if you feel like it. Leave a comment if you have something to say, and I'll see you at the next one.